Hello everyone, I'm Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English. In our today's video, we are going to find out why is Balochistan province in Pakistan is its biggest headache. There must be some reason now why we hear so many killings that happens in Balochistan of the native people and also of Pakistani state forces. So there must be some reasons behind the conflict between Balochistani people as well as the state of Pakistan and its army, right? So what is the reason behind it? We'll find out in our today's discussion. Now, the notes that I will be using in this session, if you want to download them, these will be made available on this particular Telegram channel. So just open your Telegram app. On the top right hand corner, you'll find a search bar, click on it and write ATS Live. The channel that you'll find, you can download the notes from there. And while you're at it, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel also. So let us understand the reason why are we discussing Balochistan in the first place. Now, a joint Pakistan and China, they've made a bid in the United Nations Security Council to get Balochistan Liberation Army, BLA, and Majeed Brigade listed under a United Nations 1267 sanctions regime. And this initiative by Pakistan and China has been blocked by certain countries known as US, UK and France on technical grounds. What is this technical ground? These countries have claimed that the evidence Pakistan has provided them to link BLA and Majeed Brigade with Al-Qaeda and ISIL has been insufficient. And that is why they've decided to hold their decision for next 6 months. And this is on technical grounds. Okay. So this is the reason why we're discussing Balochistan in the first place. Now, before discussing the overall geopolitics and the political climate in Balochistan, we need to understand what is this United Nations 1267 sanctions regime in the first place, right? Now, the United Nations Security Council back in 1999, it unanimously passed a resolution which came to be known as Resolution 1267. And this resolution, it designated Osama bin Laden and his associates as a global terrorist. And this established a sanctions regime which targeted individuals and entities who were associated with these designated terrorists like Al-Qaeda, Taliban as well as Osama bin Laden. Now, according to this committee, it shall make this decision or it can list any individual as a terrorist only after all the members of this committee agree. That is, if all the members of this committee agree by consensus, then only they can be listed as a terrorist. Otherwise, even if one country files an objection, this listing won't happen. And that is why when 3 countries are objecting, the listing hasn't happened. So technically, even if one country would have been objected, then also the listing wouldn't have happened. Okay. Now, what this sanction regime or why this list or resolution passed in the first place? Now, we need to know in the late 1990s, Afghanistan was taken over by Taliban. Taliban is a radical Islamic organization. And Taliban, when it controlled Afghanistan, it was accused of harboring and sheltering very famous global terrorists who were responsible for creating and conducting attacks on the interest of United States, particularly one individual, Osama bin Laden. Now, Osama bin Laden did not appear in the global scheme of things after the attack of 9/11. He was responsible of many terrorist attacks even before 9/11. For example, he conducted bombing of an underground parking in the World Trade Centers in New York in 1993. Similarly, he was an active part of bombing of US embassies in Kenya, Dar es Salaam as well as Tanzania, which killed as many as 224 individuals and it left more than 4,000 injured. So because of these terrorist activities by Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda and Taliban, they were being listed as a terrorist organization under this 1267 sanctions regime. So the ultimate aim at that time of 1267 regime was to control terrorist activities by Al-Qaeda and Taliban. Now, what this 1267 regime does, it creates a United Nations Security Council committee who is responsible for designating or listing individuals as well as organizations who are responsible for terrorist activities. And once these organizations are listed as terrorist activities, then this committee also ensures that the sanctions regime is implemented. So what is included in the sanction? Their assets are frozen so that they can't sell their assets in the market. There is a travel ban on these people and the organizations. Similarly, these organizations are also under arms embargo, that they can't go to an open market to a reputed company and buy arms and ammunition. So this is a kind of a sanction that has been imposed on people who have been responsible of terrorism under 1267 Sanctions Committee of the United Nations. Okay. Now, initially, this United Nations Sanction Committee focused on Al-Qaeda and Taliban, but gradually its scope was widened. In 2015, even the ISIS, whose other name is also ISIL, was recognized in it as a terrorist organization. And as per 2024 annual report, till today, there are as many as 255 individuals and 89 organizations or entities who are there in this sanction list of committee. Most notable organizations from Indian perspective are Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and individuals like Masood Azhar also. They were listed as a terrorists under this 1267 sanctions regime. So these all people who are linked with all these organizations directly or indirectly have been put under sanctions by this 1267 sanctions regime. Now let us come back to Balochistan. Let us see where Balochistan is located. Balochistan is this province of Pakistan which amounts to as much as 44% of total Pakistan's geographical area. Now its eastern borders of Balochistan, it is shared with Sindh province of Pakistan. Its northern borders shares with country of Afghanistan, and its western border is shared by countries of Iran. So in terms of geographical position, you'll have to realize Balochistan is in a very strategic locations which is there in the Arabian Sea. Similarly, Gwadar port is also present here. Gwadar port is a port which is being developed by China. And Chabahar port, which is being developed by India, is located on the Iranian side, and it has been developed by India. And the region which has been highlighted in the darker color is the area where ethnic Balochi people also live, right? So this is the Balochistani province that we are going to cover today. Now I told you this is a very strategically important place for Pakistan in addition to being its largest province. Now its location is very important strategically, but also there is a huge presence of natural resources including gold and oil which is expected to be present there. So normally you would think any province in area which has or lacks resources, don't you think a province which has abundant resources would be very developed? But this is not the case with Balochistan. Now on one hand this is very important for Pakistan, but Balochistan also faces the curse of geography because the terrain in Balochistan is very rugged. So the normal economic development in Balochistan has not happened even in context of Pakistan's lesser economic development. So the level of economic development in Balochistan is even lesser than the average economic development in Pakistan. And this is because of the less dense and sparsely population, as well as people are generally impoverished as compared to the other regions in Pakistan. So economically and geographically, although very strategic, but it is not at all developed, right? So this is the geography and strategy of Pakistan. Now let us understand the history of Balochistan. Now when the India was being partitioned into two independent countries, that is India and Pakistan, Balochistani people, it is expected or it was thought that they wanted to join India, but as Balochistan does not directly share its border with present day India, so they were not able to. In addition to that, they were forced to join Pakistan by forced to cede or accede to Pakistan, and this created a sense of grievance in the people of Balochistan because their warlords, their fiefdoms, they were able to accede to Pakistan but only forcefully. And this province for a long period of time, since the time it became a part of Pakistan, has witnessed bloody insurgencies, brutal repression by the state apparatus of Pakistan, and this has enabled or this has continued the Balochistanis national movement, right? So this is the reason why Balochistan has faced problems. Now in total, Balochistan has witnessed 5 wars of independence, and the latest one is continuing from 2005-6 onwards, that is almost 20 years now. Now, Pakistani state has brutally dealt with insurgencies, right? So, normally, whenever a country faces a problem, you would expect a country which is cultured, which is matured, and which is democratic to handle all of these issues quite maturely. So whenever in a multi-ethnic country, the grievances of a section of people comes, a cultured, matured and democratic country would first of all hear the problems of the people, and they would try to solve this problem or accommodate these problems in the existing constitutional scheme of things. Don't you think this would happen in a matured country a cultured country like India, like United States. But do you think Pakistan has any of these qualities? The answer is no. Pakistan is uncultured, it is immature, and instead of being democratic, it is autocratic, where the powers of the government is not actively exercised by the government, rather by the Pakistani army. So Pakistan tries to solve this problem through conduction of violence, through conduction of targeted killing of Balochistani people. So do you think this kind of an approach would solve any ethnic problem, any grievances of a section of people? Obviously not. The only reason how you can solve grievances of the people is through constitutional means, by hearing their problem, by addressing their problem, by giving them more autonomy, by giving them more power, by giving them more say in things, right? And we have understood Pakistan is exact opposite of India, right? So this is the problem that Pakistan has faced, that whenever it faced the problem, instead of hearing those problems, they try to brutally suppress these insurgencies. And there have been numerous reports that abductions, arbitrary arrest, as well as executions has been done by Pakistani army. Although it is hard to determine the exact number, but some have estimated that tens and thousands of people have perished due to state repression by Pakistani army. So this is the reason why Balochistani problem has not been addressed, rather it has been lingered and has increased to this scale, right? Similarly, also have to understand what is the heart of grievances in the Balochistani people. Now, first of all, I told you Balochistan is an area which is located very strategically. Similarly, it has abundance of natural resources, including much desired crude oil and gold. So you'd want this kind of a province to be developed. But this is not the case with Balochistan, because people of Balochistan have long faced economic and ethnic wedges, because the control over Pakistani resources is not distributed equally among the different provinces. Rather, it has been controlled more by Punjabi dominated sections of Pakistani state. Although it is quite misnomer, the official language of Pakistan is Urdu, but these Pakistani people, they speak Urdu in heavily accented Punjabi. Like they call general, not as general, but jarnail. Right? You get my point. So, Pakistani state, which is dominated by Punjabis, unwilling to accommodate the interest of Balochistani people. And Balochistani people living in an underdeveloped area, they want their people to get most of the resources that Pakistani state harnesses from Balochistan, which is not happening. And such anger, when it is persisted, when it is not addressed constitutionally, it has manifested in form of violence. And this has resulted into targeted attack conducted by Balochistani people on Pakistani state apparatus, which includes army checkposts, polices, etc. Right? So this is the heart of Pakistan's Baloch problem. Now, where does Balochistan's Liberation Army comes in? Or BLA, it is one of the Baloch ethno-nationalist group which emerged in early 2000s, and its aim is to secure complete independence from Pakistan. So it is a radical organization, it is an extreme organization. It does not want to get accommodated in the present scheme of things in Pakistan. It wants to create a separate country of Balochistan, right? But how this radical organization became so dominant in Balochistan? The reason is the politics of Pakistan. Now, whenever there appears a problem in the section of people, the first kind of leaders that emerge from these problems are mostly moderates. Now, one good thing about moderates is that they want to solve this situation, and they want both sides of the grievances, or both parties of the grievances, to sit together, talk and find a middle path out, or find a way out. Right? One of these moderates at that time in early 2000s of Balochistan was Nawab Bugti, who was a very influential nationalist in Balochistan. Now, he being a moderate, he wanted to accommodate this Balochistani problem in the present constitutional scheme of things in Pakistan. But instead of acceding to his request, instead of negotiating with Balochistani people, what Pakistani army did at that time under General Pervez Musharraf, they killed this moderate leader. And as a result, most of the politicians in the region, they went away from their moderate ideology, and rather they subscribed to a more radical, more extreme ideology. When they realized, when a moderate who was suggesting a middle path out, he was not able to fulfill his desire. So the only option that remained with Balochistani people was to conduct violence, was to get complete independence from Pakistan. And that is why radical organizations like BLA became so dominant. Because Bugti's death, it effectively oblated or removed any hope that was left for reconciliation between Balochistani nationalists on one hand and Pakistani state on another. And all the moderates that were present back then, they turned towards insurgency, and it led to complete breakdown of legitimacy of Pakistani state in the region of Balochistan. So that is why organizations like BLA, they have never been pursuant of middle ground. They don't want to get provincial autonomy. What they want is complete separation, complete independence from Pakistan, right? So this is the intention of BLA. It is a radical organization. Now, what is a Majeed Brigade? Majeed Brigade is a Fidayeen unit or a suicide squad of BLA, which was named after a person who was trying to attempt the assassination of then Pakistani Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto is very notorious for making statements like, we'll continue to eat grass as long as we have nuclear weapons. He was also the father of former Prime Minister of Pakistan, who was also killed, Mrs. Benazir Bhutto, right? Now, Majeed Brigade has been active since 2010 and has been involved in various high-profile attacks conducted on Pakistani state apparatus. For example, in 2024 attack on Ghadar Port was done by Majeed Brigade. Recent Jafar Express hijacking in March 2025 done again by Majeed Brigade. So that is why these organizations have been in news. Now, what is Pakistan's argument in getting these organizations listed in 1267 committee? Now, Pakistan has long claimed that these BLA organizations and Majeed Brigade, they operate from across the border from Afghanistan. And according to Pakistan, who is supporting BLA, it is ISIS's franchisee in Afghanistan, ISIS Khorasan, as well as Tehreek-e-Taliban, which is the Pakistani outfit of Taliban. So according to Pakistani government, it is these organizations who are actively aiding the struggle of BLA against Pakistani state. And based on this fact, or based on this claim, Pakistan has asked the council to swiftly add these BLA and Majeed group to the sanctions list of 1267. But countries like US, France and UK, they have imposed what is known as a technical hold on this listing. Now, according to this rules, I told you, right, even if one member object to the listing, this listing won't happen. And here 3 members are objecting. Similarly, a member can also request more time on making the decision. And this requesting of more time is known as a hold of decision, and this can be done on 2 different grounds: technical grounds or substantive ground. What these countries have holded the decision is on technical grounds. These countries have said that Pakistani government has not been able to provide credible evidence which would suggest that there is a linkage between BLA and Majeed Brigade on one hand and ISIS and Tehreek-e-Taliban on the other hand, right? So Pakistan has not been able to prove their direct link. So they are asking, when you're not able to prove direct link, how do you expect us to help you in getting these organizations listed in the 1267 sanction committee? Now, this is very ironic. You know why this is ironic? Because I told you, India also wanted to get organizations like Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed and individuals like Masood Azhar to be listed in 1267 sanction committee, and it took a long period of time for India to get them listed. You know the reason why? Because China used to delay and block our claim or our decision of getting themselves listed, and China used to do it in technical grounds, not on substantive ground. So the chickens that China and Pakistan have released on us, now they have come to roost in their own territory of Pakistan, right? So that is why what China and Pakistan did to us, US, UK and France is doing to them. They are blocking or delaying the implementation or listing of these organizations to 1267 sanction committee. Now, this doesn't mean that this hold is indefinite. This hold will once again come before the committees 6 months later on, right? So this is what is important from Balochistan. Now you understand why is there so much headache in Pakistani state apparatus, because they haven't solved Balochistani problem through legal means or through constitutional means. They have tried to use violence, which we all know is not right way to do it, right? Now, let us solve this practice question. The object of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1267 was to do what? Any idea which is the right answer? Right answer to this question is option D. Similarly, There is another question that I want you to solve. Before that, I want to tell you something. Today is 20th of September, right? And today is also the last date when you can take admissions to one of our 2026 batches. From tomorrow onwards, only the admissions will be taken for 2027 and 28 batches. So if you're one of the students who are looking to give exams next year and you want our courses, please hurry up, because today is the last date, and you'll get the discounted rate, that is 26,999 for diamond batch, only when you apply the code ATS Live. So please do not forget to do that. There's also a number which might be flashing on the bottom half of your screen. You can call that number and ask for any guidance, help. They will help you out. Okay, please give them my reference. Now, with reference to United Nations Security Council resolution sanction regime, consider the following statement. Do let me know the correct answer in the comment section. And also, what do you think about this particular problem? Do you think India should do anything relating to Balochistan issue? Because this is a normal, or this is a genuine problem that they are facing. Their people are being killed in cold blood by Pakistani state apparatus. So what can India do in this regard? I'd want all of your suggestion in the comment section. Okay, so please let me know your suggestions, and please be very civil about it. We'll see each other again. The notes that you can use for this session, it will be made available on this Telegram channel, ATS Live. Okay, so we'll see each other again. Please have a very good night.